All right, today we're going to be working on our Nova RT Plus cylindrical lock with mechanical key override. Right here I've got my 79 PS 150 T1 KF32626. What this is the RT Plus lock. It is a unit lock. It has the 2 3/4 inch backset cylindrical. It's toggle capable. It's got a long lever on it. It's mechanical key override with our Lori keyway. It is a dual-handed lock, so you can do it right hand or left hand. By default, the hub, I believe, is set for right hand. We'll find that out in a minute. It does have BLE built in, and the 626 is the satin chrome lock. So let's see what's in the box. Open it up here. Right on top, something that's very handy. This is setting the keyway for the mechanical key override. As many as these as I've done, I still mess up sometimes doing the keyway, so I will reference this sometimes. I'm gonna set that right over here to the side and we'll look at it later. We've got our cylindrical hub here, and this is set for a right-handed lock by default. If I needed to change this from right hand to left hand, I flip it over. I take 2 screws out, turn this 180 degrees, put the 2 screws right back in, and I've changed the handing. Also, you see some spacer plates in here. This is set for a 1 3/4 inch door. If the door was skinnier, I'd take those screws out and pull some of the shims out. And you'll see in the hardware bag, there's a couple more of these. That way, if I need it for a thicker door, I can actually add those shims in for that thicker door. So that's our cylindrical plate. We've got a gasket here. This lock is fully weather rated front and back, but if we're putting this on next to your door, we do want to put this gasket on it just to help seal everything up. We've got our front lock body. Now, this lock body is the exact same body that we use for the 79, 790, RT lock, all that. But you'll see a difference. The circuitry inside is different, but on the outside, I have a square here instead of a bullseye. Also, I don't have the 2 little windows here for the infrared programmer. That's because this thing is programmed with NFC. Huge advantage here. It also has the Bluetooth built into the reader here, so it's not a separate antenna on the back anymore. We have our battery tube here. Nice thing about this lock, it is powered with batteries in the front housing, so this tube would just drop right down in this front housing here to power up the lock. So nice thing is you have to change batteries. You don't have to open the door to get to them. You can just pull the tube out, change batteries, slide it back in, or better yet, have an extra tube, have the batteries ready to go in it, pull the old tube out, slide the new one in, then replace the batteries in the old tube and have it for the next door. We've got our 2 3/4 inch backset latch here. We also do have an option for 2 3/8 if needed. We have our ANSI cylindrical plate. This is your standard 4 7/8 ANSI strike plate. I'm gonna set that to the side because I'm putting this on demo mount and I won't need it. And we've got our screw pack with all our screws, our spindles, and those spacer plates I was talking about. And the bottom here, we've got our lever for this lock. It's got the hole for the mechanical key override. And we've got our interior housing here. This particular one I have does have privacy. It could be ordered without privacy, especially if this is a common area door. I might order it without privacy and I wouldn't have that thumb turn on it. But I did order this as unit function. So I'm gonna set the box over to the side. I'm gonna move things out of the way so I can work here. I'm gonna open these screw packs also and cylinder packs. So we've got our 2 3/8 backset latch here. We've got wood screws and we've got machine screws in case that was a metal door. We have our other screw pack here with our spindles, our spacers. Those spacers I was talking about earlier for that cylindrical thing for the thicker doors are these right here. You just add or remove as needed. We've unboxed everything, opened our packages. I've grabbed my demo mount. I've already got my cylindrical latch in here ready to go. So I'm gonna take and prep the rest of the devices. My front housing here, I'm gonna grab the 2 spindles for it. My privacy spindle is gonna go right here in the top. I've got to make sure that the notch in the receiver here is lined up with the notch on the housing. I'm going to take this spindle and pop into it. Now this spindle may look different than yours. Yours might have a washer on it right here. That's fine. If it has the washer goes on the lock side of the door, not the other side. So I'm going to snap this thing in place, and it's holding in there. If I get it all snapped in, it's holding real well. So it takes some pretty good force to pull it back out. So I've got it snapped in. Got this spindle that I'm going to put in. It goes down here now. It's got little notches right here on it near one edge. That's the edge that goes towards the lock, and it goes in like a diamond. Do not put it in like a square like this, because it won't line up correctly with the hub. If you try to force it on that way, your latch will be pulled in halfway all the time. So I'm going to put it in like a diamond, and it snaps in there. Set that to the side. I've got my cylindrical hub that I've already handed the way I need, which was right-handed, the way it came out of the package. Now I've got my inside housing here. You notice my lever's loose right now. There's no lever return spring on it. I've got two springs in my package here, a short wide one and a long skinny one. The short wide is going to be my lever return spring, and that's going to be for a right-handed door here. I'm going to have the handle out that way. I'm going to pop the spring on the lever piece and come down and pop it on this bottom piece. Now when I turn my lever, it's bouncing back the way it should. The other spring is for our privacy here. This little piece sliding by the privacy that actually trips the limit switch up top. Want to be able to pull it back down, so I'm going to snap it on. And the first couple of these may take you a little bit to do. Sometimes you may have to take a screwdriver, just kind of pop it over so it hits that hole. After you've done a few, they go in pretty easy. And then we'll hook it on the bottom. Now my lever return spring is working, and the assembly here is being pulled back down like it's supposed to. So I've got these. I'm going to turn my door. I'm going to put the front side of the lock on here. I'm going to slide the wire through the door, slide the other piece through. Oops, I forgot a step. We just go back real easy. Got to put my cylindrical drive in. This plate goes on the outside of the door. So I'm going to take it, and as I slide it on, the grooves on it will line up with the grooves on this latch here. Let's see if I can show you on the overhead. This latch has a tailpiece sticking out. When I slide this through, the grooves in it line up to that tailpiece and grab it. So now I take my housing, slide everything through the way it should. All goes through there real easy. Now my inside housing, I'm going to take and hook my wire up here. This isn't a power wire, it's just for this limit switch on the back side. And I can take and slide excess into that hole in the door there. I'm going to line everything up, push it on. Then I'm going to take my screws, run them in here. And these screws are an 1/8 inch drive. So I've got an 1/8 inch bit on my drill here. I'm going to run these in. That's all installed. I turn my handle, you see the latch retract like it's supposed to. I can hear my privacy thumb turning. Now, I've got my battery tube here. It slides up in the bottom of the lock here. I've got a hole in my mount for it to slide through. Goes right up in there. I hear the lock power up. I saw the green light flash on it. And I can test this with the card. I'm getting the proper lights for construction mode, red and green flashing together, telling me it's unlocked. When I flip that privacy, I'm getting yellow and red now, telling me that this thing is in privacy mode and it's not going to unlock. So everything's working like it should. Now we've got to put our key override in. Now this core was not shipped with the lock. This core is shipped separately. These locks are ordered in quantities for a job. The cores are going to ship without the lock in a separate box, and they're going to be either key to like or master key, depending on how you order them. So I've got this core. First thing I want to do, per my instruction sheet over here that we set to the side, I want to take and make sure that in the center of the lock here, there's a little plus sign. I know it's real hard to see on the video, but on that plus sign, there's a couple little notches on it. According to my instructions, those notches need to be up and down. A little way to turn those easily, I'm gonna take this core and stick in here and turn it to where those notches are up and down for me. They are now. And when it's in the right position, this little bump at the bottom will actually push up. That's the lever lock. And it'll actually push up like it should so I can put my lever on. So now that I've got that lined up right, remember this is a right-handed door. Little instructions on my sheet here show me I put my core in first. Then there's this little shim piece I put in after it. Once I get everything on the door, I can take and tighten through this hole here and tighten that shim down, just taking a wiggle out of the handle. I've got my core in. I'll put my key back in it. And according to the instructions for a right-handed door, I'm going to take this and I'm going to rotate that keyway about 100 degrees. And that's in clockwise direction. So now I'm going to take this and slide it on. Kind of wiggle it, turn that keyway a little bit to make sure I'm hitting the right angle. Now it's on there, and I'm going to take that key, according to the instructions, I'm going to turn it back counterclockwise and pull it out. Now that lever's locked in place, and guess what I did? My lock look a little funny to you? Yeah, it happens sometimes. I put the lever on backwards. No big deal. Nice to show you how to take the lever off anyway. Kind of reverse the procedure. Put the keyway in, turn it up to about 100 degrees or so clockwise. Take something, stick in the bottom hole to push that bump in, and now the lever comes off. Real simple there. So now I'm going to take my keyway, my cylinder here, and turn it the correct direction. Got my lever going the correct direction. I'm going to line it up like my instruction sheet showed. I'm going to put it on the right way this time. Turn this back counterclockwise and pull that key out. My lever's on there the way it should be. Everything looks good. I can put my key in, turn it, and now when I turn the handle, you'll see the latch retracts right here. That latch is retracting like it should. All right, so I'm gonna take my keyway out. We know we're good there. Now, if the keyway will not come out of the door, or the key won't come out of the keyway on the door, it means that you've put the core in wrong. You didn't follow these instructions on the sheet. Just read through them again. You'll see how the keyway needs to go in there. That's why we include one of these in every box. It's the most common issue I have with putting this lock on the door, just putting the keyway on, making sure I get it right. Once you've done 2 or 3 in a row, all the others are gonna fly because you'll have a pattern down real easy. So last thing we wanna check is make sure our card is working again. So we'll read it. It's retracting the latch like it should. If I turn privacy on, read it, it's not working. So everything's working just the way it's designed. So this is our Nova RT Plus cylindrical with mechanical key override. Thank you very much.